Support WrestleTalk!
Be kind to each other in the comments.
Hello. Welcome to the SmackDown Review Podcast. Live.
What? It's SmackDown Live. We've gone back in time a year and a half.
We have, most certainly, yes. We are here live doing the SmackDown Review episode of the WrestleTalk Podcast. Hello. Welcome. I'm Corporate Chopper. I'm joined by Andy Datson, who's in the office.
Whoa, look at it. It's still here.
The studio. It's still there, guys.
And it
crazy.
Still smells the same.
None of it's broken. We are going to be talking, obviously, about SmackDown. We're also going to get through every single one of your Ultra Chats today. If you use the link that's down there, WrestleTalk.com/support, you can get in your Ultra Chats, and we'll be going through every single one of them before the end of the show. But first things first, we're going to be talking about Apollo Crews, who had a gimmick change last week, who kind of lent into his Nigerian roots, as it were. And yeah, just kind of made that kind of cultural focus kind of the crux of his new gimmick. I thought last week he looked fantastic. I thought the lean into the heritage and the culture was amazing. On this week's show, he came out and it was a bit different. He's got new music, which I quite like. I thought fits the whole new character and the gimmick and stuff really, really well, which is great. But the thing that immediately stuck out to me was that he was now flanked by two guys who are wearing military uniforms. Which I thought initially, white man, no context. I thought, oh, that's a bit weird. He was also holding a spear as well, and I was like, okay. We're going to preface this saying that these were our initial thoughts, but I will say that even since the news episode has gone out 2 hours ago, my opinion has changed of this Apollo segment quite drastically, which we'll get into and we'll explain in a little bit. But he was also holding his spear as well, and I was like, oh god, I really hope that Vince McMahon hasn't just made him a stereotype, because that wouldn't be great. And he came out and he cut a promo, and he now has a full-on Nigerian accent for the whole thing. Because obviously on last week he teased it and he was saying, oh yeah, this is what my grandfather used to say, and did the Nigerian accent for a couple of lines. But now whole promo is Nigerian accent. So my initial thoughts was, he's made him a stereotype. That sucks.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts there, or were you just agreeing?
Yeah, no, I was agreeing. So my initial thoughts were, oh dear. The moment he started speaking Nigerian accent, I thought, oh no. Because the thing is, no, but you don't speak a Nigerian accent, because we know how you talk. And I was like, oh no, they've done this. But actually, having seen the reaction from it, and actually a lot of Nigerian people online are saying, no, look, we love this. This is great. This is awesome. This is amazing to see that they're actually, it feels like they've actually let him kind of say, look, this is what I want, rather than going, oh, so you're Nigerian. Okay, we're going to give you this, and this. It actually feels like they've let Apollo do what he wants to do, and say, look, if I was this is what I would have. I would have this would be part of my gimmick. So yeah, like you said, initially I was like, oh no, this is going to be terrible. But actually, yeah, I think it was just one of those classic reactions that people have, which is like, oh no, I should be offended by this because it's another culture. But actually, no, they did it well, and I'm willing to accept that I was just completely wrong in my initial thought.
Absolutely, yeah, same as me. And you can see it come across in the edited review that I did earlier. I was quite down on the segment, but I kind of recorded that, and I was like, this isn't sitting right with me. A lot of people seem to enjoy this online, and I'm not sure why. I need to find out more. So I actually went and spoke to some of my friends who actually have African heritage, because I don't know whether you've noticed, I'm quite white. And I have no context.
Pete, you're so white.
For any of the, I know.
Being half English and half Swedish, I'm not white.
So I had no context for why this gimmick would go over well, because for me it looked like it was an offensive stereotype, not actually part of the culture. But actually, I've got a few messages here that I've managed to screenshot from a friend that actually explained some of the bits. So for any of you that are on the train that we were on of being like, I don't like this, there's actually a few messages here. So first one that says, yeah, it's a bit Wakanda, but the message was there until it went to WWE storyline stuff when he started talking about Big E and all that. And the message was quite true. I've had friends in school change their name and accent because of bullying. And a lot of black people change their names even when they get older because more stereotypical white names are better for their careers/lives. And that was something that Apollo mentioned quite a lot in the promo, was him saying, like, look, when I was growing up, I was mocked and ridiculed, and people used to ask me if I grew up in a jungle and things like that. That was the whole kind of crux of the first half of the promo, which just fed into the whole a very real struggle that people have to deal with. Which again just added to the positive sentiment behind it. There was some more to it as well, because like I said, the thing that really stuck out to me was the guards and the spear that he was holding, because I was like, that seems like it's going too far. But as my friend explained, the accent's a bit much, but that'll probably grow on people, and it might be a bit much just because we don't know, just because we know he doesn't have that accent. And that's what I think the main part of it was, that we were a bit kind of taken aback. So we were like, that's not how you normally talk. But apparently the guards that are there in the military uniform are very common for people with wealth in Africa. Again, maybe not the spears, that's a little much, but you can't put guns on the show, and you'd probably rather than holding nothing. And also just a final bit as well of talking about the accent itself. If anyone says he can't keep up the accent, it's awful. Well, he literally said in the promo, stop that, Andy. He had to learn to talk differently compared to how he used to talk. Don't know if true, but whatever. So of course he would go between accents. That's actually quite common. And he said last week he was trying to be more in touch with his roots. It adds authenticity and it is his heritage. It's not racist. He's trying to embrace that. It's his heritage. Which just kind of explains the whole thing from start to finish. Any kind of negativity that people want to point at it, it's actually well done. It's actually very tasteful, and it actually represents Nigerian culture a lot. There's been a lot of people who are very happy with this presentation, and the people I've now seen that are upset with the segment are white people, which to me doesn't make any sense, because they're not the ones who should be offended by it. That's just me, though. Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of people saying, look, I really liked a lot of it. Even those people have been saying, I really like the portrayal and stuff. Even people who are of African heritage have said, I don't think they needed to do the accent, which is fine. You could that's a perfectly acceptable opinion to have. Yeah. I think we just got to accept that we're wrong on that. We were wrong to start with. And also, even if it is a bit Wakanda with the spears and stuff, Black Panther's really cool. So even if they did want to do something like that, it's a really cool, like even if that's something they were referencing, at least that's something that like people can like relate to, and it's I don't know. I just want to I kind of just saw it when I saw a picture of it this morning. I did just go, oh no, but that's the whole point, isn't it? You gotta learn. And we have done, I think, because if I hadn't like looked around and seen what other people said, I would have come on and go, oh, classic WWE stereotyping, blah blah blah, and then I would have been told, no, you're the one who's wrong here. So it's just important to check. Exactly, yeah. And even like I was doing some me and my friend that I was speaking to kind of did some more like, I guess, research around it and just seeing what kind of more online reaction to it was and stuff like that. And we saw some people being like, why are you holding a spear? That doesn't make any sense. It makes the Nigerian culture look like tribal huntsmen and stuff. And they actually said, from the heritage that he has, the tribe that his family is from in Nigeria, the spear is actually used in a ceremonial sense for important occasions and things like that. It actually all just fits with his actual heritage, which, like, you know, it's great. Yeah, I love it. And I just want to point out, we're not trying to get offended on the part of other people. No. Watch. I've seen some comments saying, you're just trying to get offended. Like, oh, no, I'm not trying to get offended. We're just trying to be sensitive to the subject. And yeah, we just wanted to point out that
why they're doing it. Basically, we just want to we don't want to come in here and just go, oh well, this is what we thought. We're just trying to give every single perspective, trying to be
exactly, because the perspective that's really needed for this is one that actually understands the context of it. We can only understand so much because we have none of the context of the African heritage that's actually being portrayed in the gimmick. And for a similar example, Roman Reigns that's leading into his Samoan heritage, you never really understand the full context. Like if you watch Laurie's explained video on partsFUNknown about the Samoan dynasty, God, it really is eye-opening to how much Samoan culture they managed to get into, especially the Jey Uso feud and about acknowledging him as the tribal chief and things like that. That is all kind of comes together in this one feud. And there's so many parts of it that you never realize until you actually see the full scope of the actual culture. And I feel like this is very much the same with Apollo, in that people don't really get it unless you actually look at the context and look at and actually do the research and see what people are saying about it. Because the people that if there's people that just don't like it from a wrestling standpoint and they don't like the gimmick or whatever, sure, whatever. But people who are offended or think it's offensive that aren't like of African descent, you should probably think about why you're offended or who you're offended on behalf of.
I've seen a couple of comments saying like the commentators should have said some of this, and it's true. Like they should have done, because the commentators play a really important part in storytelling, and I think that's why a lot of people have come out confused, because they just don't know what's going on. But if the commentators said, "Oh, that's because of that, that's because of that, and that's because of that," we'd have gone, "Okay, that makes sense." But we just had him come out, and we went, "What's this?" Because we don't understand. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like we've talked about it enough.
Yes, totally.
And really, I agree with see where this goes.
Yeah, me too. And I'm with Charles Burke in the chat. He said, "Not offended. I think it just needs more context." And I agree. I think maybe next week if Apollo comes out and he's just like, "Hey, this just kind of proves my point. Loads of people seeing me last week and jumping to conclusions and stuff. This is why I have this. This is why I have this. This is me. This is my roots and all that stuff." I think that's great. Yeah. And the first half of the promo was about kind of that struggle that Black people have had of having to, be ridiculed and bullied and stuff. And the second half was him challenging Big E to another IC title match, which again, somehow I'm interested in. I've seen these guys wrestle like 6 times and I still want to see him have another match, which, and great.
You know what? I think Apollo's going to win it.
I think so as well.
I think he has to win it now. Like they've changed his character so drastically. Remember when he was just a guy who smiled? That was his gimmick. Yeah. This guy is athletically impressive and he smiles a lot. And it just proves that if you give people a bit of creative license, like anyone can become a really, really interesting and intriguing character. So yeah, just I'm all for this, and I think I think he'll win. But I then am interested to see what they do with Big E. Because I think Big E has all the makings of a main event star. Maybe they'll, I don't know, depending on what the match is, maybe they write Big E off TV for a bit, because if Apollo's getting really just kind of violent, and then have Big E come back after WrestleMania and set up something with Roman Reigns, or whoever is the Universal Champion at the time.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued all around. And if I came off as particularly negative, about this segment in particular, if I came off as particularly negative in the WrestleTalk News edited review earlier, then yeah, I've definitely changed my perspective for sure, and I hope a lot of other people have as well because of that. Because I feel like a lot of us were just like, "Huh," but now I actually understand. You grow and you learn. That's the point. But let's see what you guys thought. Let's get into your ultra chats here. We can do those now on the SmackDown podcast. And we can do ultra chats.
By the way, if anyone wondering why I look better today, it's because I have real lighting. I don't normally have this. Yeah. So this is why I look okay.
Yep, that's the main reason. So let's get into your ultra chats. Charles Berg said, if WWE wanted Apollo to change his accent, here's an idea. Have him say, due to fear of persecution, he changed how he spoke. The voice you heard was never his real voice. The accent is his real voice. He should go back. He should take back his better name, Yuhan Nation. I feel like that's basically what he said in the
Yeah.
promo, without explicitly saying those exact words. He said, "This is how I talk now," and explained the whole context of I was being bullied and picked on in school and things like that. And I feel like if you put two and two together, that's the reason behind it. But yeah, and Yuha Nation, maybe I'd be okay with it. It's a cool name. I like it.
Yeah. No, all of that. No, you're right. That is, I think that's basically what he said. So, yeah, I agree with Charles there.
Riley Finlayson comes in to say, "Yay, it's great to have you guys live. Love you both. I'm not really sure how we feel about the direction they've gone with Apollo. I'm really scared they're going to fall back into the terrible foreign heel gimmick they always do." And then ends with "Kiss me chops." No, but thank you. I think part of it was just like general confusion at the gimmick, and also just trepidation because WWE doesn't have a good track record when it comes to displaying cultural gimmicks sensitively. So I think a lot of us were just like, "Oh, let's not do this again," as like a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to it. So I'm hoping that, with the amount of actually like good, strong black characters that they have in WWE right now, with Lashley being the WWE champion and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks and the entirety of the Hurt Business and loads more Street Profits, whatever. I don't think they're going to get into a stereotypical territory.
I think especially with something that was more sensitive, like, because it's all. I think like when you think of sort of foreign heels, you think of like Rusev coming over from Russia. It's not quite the same thing. I really don't think they're going to do that with this. I know it's WWE, but it is now 2021, and people are more aware of these things. And if they're letting Apollo put in the input, then I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I hope so, because it seems like he's had a lot of input so far. So hopefully they keep that up. Laramie Schnorr, great name, says, "So does this mean Apollo has been the Nigerian prince emailing me the past few years for help with transporting his family's gold?" No. That would be terrible. That would be a stereotype if they wanted to come out and do that.
That would be so stupid.
That would be terrible. None of that.
That made me chuckle.
Yes. Leon Kwashi said, "I'm Ghanaian and have many Nigerian brothers. No issue at all with Apollo's presentation. In fact, I'm hoping that they go further into true tribal chief territory, winning King of the Ring, being crowned on a tribal stool, wearing kente cloth." I don't know what kente cloth is, but I'll probably look it up after this because I'm now quite interested.
I think the thing is that when like Roman Reigns does it, we are all sort of aware of Samoan heritage within wrestling. So we're like, oh, he's Samoan, like The Rock, like Rikishi, like loads of others. But we're just not kind of used to a Nigerian heritage. We don't know it. So we're like, what's this? And so we think, oh no, this is something that WWE is doing. But it's just that we don't get it, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas we kind of understand Samoan heritage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kieron SR said, "I love the promo and his gimmick is great. The accent was a slight throw off slightly, but I get it. I just hope this isn't a decision by some executive out of touch 50-year-old white man as WWE have done in the past. It doesn't seem like it. With how accurate the portrayal is, you'd assume there's got to have been some input from Apollo himself, which, I think is a great idea. We should really have more input from people portraying those characters. Shock.
Yeah,
I know.
And look what it's done with Roman Reigns. I mean, he's clearly having loads of input, and this is, I don't know, the best gimmick in WWE in the last 5 years.
Yeah, maybe the Fiend up there as well, but that got ruined real quick.
Yeah.
But yes, that will do for Ultra Chats for now. We will get to all the rest of them and any more that come in between now and then by the end of the show. So get in your Ultra Chats at WrestleTalk.com/support. But for now, let's get into talking about the rest of the show. And also to answer people's questions if anyone has come in late. Yes, Andy is in the office. I know, it's mental.
I know.
It is still there.
It is. I'll prove it. Look, here's a John Cena.
A John Cena action figure. Yeah, amazing. Anyway, let's talk about SmackDown. So the show itself opened up with a recap video of Edge winning the Royal Rumble and choosing Roman Reigns, but not choosing Roman Reigns because the video package didn't show him at Elimination Chamber spearing Reigns and pointing at the Mania sign. Instead, it spliced in a different promo of him saying, "I choose Roman Reigns," which he didn't do.
Yeah,
which was weird.
They've done this a few times recently. Didn't they? There's Adam Pearce.
Yes,
because Adam Pearce's
that's right.
mic cut
Card
out.
subject to change.
And then next week it just goes, card subject to it's like one of those kind of fake, like dubbed over what his mouth's actually doing. This whole opening segment was a bit strange for me.
Probably say what happens first before we say our opinions on it.
No, I was gonna. Fine.
I'm just saying.
Oh, this is what happens when we're live, Pete. We're just going to fall out the whole time.
We just hate each other.
You do it, whatever.
You've never been known.
I'm leaving.
Okay. You've never been known before, Andy, to talk about the end of a segment before we've said what happened. That's never happened before. Right. The segment itself, after that opening video package, which was quite long, we then got Michael Cole in the ring, who introduces Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan cuts a promo then, who it's a little bit botchy. He stumbles on his lines a few times, but the fire behind the promo was good. There were some weird parts to it, though. For example, him saying that he wants to main event WrestleMania instead of Edge or Roman, which is cool. And him saying that at Elimination Chamber, that was when he realized that he wanted to be in the main event of WrestleMania. And he's saying, look, I know that everyone wants to see Edge versus Roman Reigns. It's the dream match that everyone wants. It's Attitude Era versus Thunderdome. And I was like, what? Is Thunderdome? That's not an era.
No. I bet it. I mean, it kind of is.
It kind of is, but it isn't. I don't want it to be. If you think of the Attitude Era, Thunderdome, that's not...
No, I know it sounds silly, but it is an era because it has been so different.
Kind of. It's not even been a year of the Thunderdome, though. It's hard to call that an era.
What's the definition of an era?
Oh, God. I'm just saying, in comparison, when you think of how big, how long spanning the Attitude Era was and all the things that happened in it, it's hard to call Thunderdome an era. Anyway, this is a minor point. We're getting
a long and distinct period of time.
Yeah. Anyway, we get very sidetracked with this very minor point. It just struck me as weird when he was like, it's Attitude Era versus Thunderdome. I was like, that's not what anyone is thinking about this match. If anything, it's Spear versus Spear, but it's probably not that either. It's weird. And then Bryan's promo was then this next bit. It was him saying, a while back, WWE did a personality test on loads of people backstage, and my test results said that I had the lowest ambition out of anyone they've ever seen. And I was like,
that is not what a personality test does.
That's not what it does. And also, Daniel Bryan having the lowest ambition out of it. WrestleMania 30 main eventer, Daniel Bryan, guy who won both the titles, guy who wouldn't give up enough so that he forced himself into the main event of WrestleMania. That guy, not enough ambition. Okay, sure, whatever.
They all did it. They all did it as well. Like every single person. And then he was like, Daniel, why have you got such low ambition, you idiot? No, this just reminded me of when Gina in Brooklyn Nine-Nine takes the personality test of Captain Hull, and he's like, oh, I'm an I9 CG36 or something like that. He's like, me too. And it's like, what? Yeah. Why would you do that? And then to go, you have such low ambition. You suck.
Yeah. Then he says at Elimination Chamber, when he lost to Roman and he saw Edge spear him and point up at the WrestleMania sign, he knew then that he had more ambition than that test could ever show. And I'm like, well, it's not a very good test then, is it? Jesus.
He's going to turn into Daniel Tryon.
It's not
I saw someone in the comments say pun incoming, and I realized I didn't have one. So then I had to try and think of one in the meantime.
Just make one?
Yeah.
God. Apparently there's loads of people in the chat saying that the test is true, which to me is hilarious.
I saw another really interesting chat. Just jumping forward. Remember, Apollo Crews had a chat with Roman Reigns for a long time.
I know he did. Yeah.
So that's what people are pointing out. Yes. Anyway,
yes.
let's go on.
several people celebrating your pun. How dare you? He then said that he was super ambitious and wants to win. Sure. He then threw to his own video package. Which is awful. I
Love it
hate
when we do
when
that.
people do that. It's so annoying. Through to his own video package, which basically showed the same thing, except this time it showed Edge attacking Reigns and choosing him for WrestleMania. So they purposefully took that out of the opening video package so they could show it in the second video package without repeating, but it was really weird because they added stuff that didn't exist into the first one, so then they could show the second one, which was just Elimination Chamber, which is what Daniel Bryan had already spoken about. He'd already spoken about losing Elimination Chamber and Edge winning and whatever else. Also, Michael Cole evaporated during the course of this too.
Yeah, it was a very rare swing and a miss from a Daniel Bryan promo. Maybe it's because they're so used to having Roman Reigns come out that they just don't know how to do it without him.
And then
he came out
Roman
immediately.
Reigns came out.
Yeah. And they made it better. I was like, oh, whew, thank God for that.
Yeah. There was a good line from Bryan towards the end, which was he was saying that he's wrestled more in the last 3 weeks than Roman Reigns and Edge have wrestled in the last 3 months. And I was like, that's actually pretty cool. That's a nice little thing. He's like, I love wrestling. This is what I do. This is why I do this. Roman Reigns came out, and I thought he got a great promo here of him just saying, look, you don't love this business. You need this business. What would you do if you weren't here? You don't have anything. I love this business. I don't need to be here. Everyone here needs me. And I was like, God, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, Bryan does have a incredibly successful reality star wife and a former wrestler as well.
No, what would he do? What would his wife do?
Be a dad. That's
not fame and success, Andy.
No, it works again because Roman Reigns had this really good record recently of tapping into people's sort of insecurities, and that's what Edge did to him as well. So he's taking it back and doing it to Daniel Bryan. This match is going to be awesome. I think Roman's going to win quite, not comfortably, but it's going to be a great match. Once again, it's Bryan making sure he's putting over as many people as possible before he leaves, which, from what we understand, he's planning to do at the end of this current run. Just going to be a great match. What is it? It's 2 weeks now until Fastlane, so we've got another couple of weeks of build. And everything I've seen from Roman Reigns recently suggests that the build's going to be awesome. And I think this was a rare miss for Daniel Bryan, but because it's so rare, I'm going to forgive him on this one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I don't think it was necessarily his fault. Like, the content of the promo wasn't great. Him throwing to his own video package, the double video packages, Michael Cole, none of it really added up. So I wouldn't say it's entirely his fault. Roman's promo I thought was great. Jey Uso, who's scheduled to have a steel cage match with Daniel Bryan in the main event. If Bryan wins, he gets a Universal title shot at Fastlane. He kind of gets in Bryan's face and cuts a promo on him. I love Jey Uso so much. His promo style, I love. Just him constantly being fired up and ready for a fight. I just love that character. Him just cuts a promo on him, goes for another cheap shot, much like he did last week. And but then Bryan counters it and stands tall and walks away from Roman to end the segment, which was cool. Nice little setup for the main event, I thought.
I think Jimmy might be coming back at Fastlane.
It's a good shout.
I think Jimmy might help Roman win. And then it's the full kind of Samoan dynasty going to WrestleMania. Because so Jimmy, cool. As far as we know, is clear. Is cleared to return. He was supposed to be cleared around the Royal Rumble, so I'm assuming he's cleared now. And I think it would be a really awesome addition. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they play it out.
Yeah, me too. After that, we got a recap of the Street Profits versus Zayn and Corbin from last week, and then it was announced we've got Street Profits versus Zayn and Corbin next, and I went, oh, for God's sake, guys, the same match, but then it was another one of those where I was like, ugh, WWE. And then they actually did something that made sense. Sort of. Which was Street Profits came out, did their entrance. Sami Zayn came out and started cutting a promo on the ramp before Corbin interrupted him and said, Sami, we're not a tag team. I'm not tagging with you. And I was like, oh, thank God. Baron Corbin is talking sense. What world are we in? It must be Bizarro world. Corbin's talking sense. And then he said, I'm not tagging with you. I'm a singles wrestler. I want a singles match. And then Montez Ford and Dawkins then divvied up who would be having what singles match. And Ford got Corbin and Dawkins got Zayn. And I was like, I like that less. I would have preferred if it was just Corbin having a singles match because that's what he wanted. Instead of like, we're going to have 2 singles matches, one after the other kind of thing.
Yeah, and the way they booked it ensured that not a single person, other than maybe Corbin, looked better by the end of it.
Yeah. So... It started off with Corbin and Ford. And I was like, this could be a fun little thing. Corbin's pretty big. He has a slow pace. And Ford doing like his fiery, big high spots could be a fun little comeback. None of that happened because it went about 3 minutes. And then Corbin just won with the end of days. He just won. You could make an argument that Ford got distracted with the camera crew on the outside. Is dumb, though. And also, he didn't. Because I might be misremembering this, so don't quote me on this, but I thought he hit an enziguri on Corbin, who then bounced off the ropes, and then just hit an end of days, and then just won.
He needed more forward focus, didn't he?
That was bad.
I thought that was quite good. I never like these matches where because the Street Profits are still going for the tag belt, and then you just have. Yeah. And then you just have one lose immediately. And then they follow up with a match, which they then win with a roll up. And then you go, okay. So one of them lost and one of them won, luckily. And it's against Sami Zayn, who one of my website editors this morning messaged me this morning saying, he's had 12 matches this year and he's won one of them. Sami Zayn has won one match in 2021.
And that was to qualify for the Chamber.
Yeah. I get that he's a comedy character, but he's also Sami Zayn. And he's
also one of the best wrestlers in the world. God,
yes.
That makes me sad. But yes, the other match, as Andy's already mentioned, shocking that Andy spoke about the end of a match before describing what happened first.
I'm leaving again.
It was Dawkins versus Zayn. And initially Corbin was going to stay at Sami's side for some reason. But then when he got pushed by Sami, he went away again, which was weird. I would have preferred Corbin just walk out because he had no reason to stay, but sure, whatever. So it was just Sami. Ford was on the outside. Ford then got in the faces of all the documentary people, which distracted Sami, and then Dawkins rolled him up. Which Street Profits then, celebrating away because they've got a stand tall and all that. It's like, Ford, you just lost, mate. I don't know. For some reason, he was having a bit of a Ford fiesta.
I'm leaving.
2 can play at that game, Mr. Datsun. Anyway. I also, when the Street Profits made their entrance, Michael Cole said, it's party time on SmackDown. I really hope that's not a thing that sticks. Please, Michael Cole, don't make that
that was when Dawkins was Ford escorting his partner to the ring.
I'm just trying to think of more things now. That's, that's not good. Anywho...
what's next?
I can think of another car, but I can't think of a way to shoehorn it into what
I was thinking of Ford Mustang. I was like, but there was no horse.
And I was just thinking of using the word must, but just saying Mustang instead. Like he Mustang have done this thing, and it's bad. Anyway, those matches happened. So really, the only person that got over was Corbin. And when I say over, I mean didn't look bad coming out of this. Corbin, because he just won in a few minutes and beat former SmackDown Tag Team Champion in a few minutes. Great, good look for Corbin. Montez Ford lost in a few minutes to Corbin. Then he caused a distraction, and Sami got distracted, looking like a chump, and Dawkins only won with a roll-up off the distraction, which means he could barely only beat Sami Zayn, who's only won one match this year, lest we forget. He could only just beat him via distraction, so none of those look good. And the camera crew didn't look good, because then Sami Zayn kind of thought that one of the guys was in on the conspiracy and then beat him up a bit.
Yeah, he beat him up, yeah.
And then, yeah, no one looked good coming out of this at all.
No, it wasn't a good segment.
No.
But I'm kind of used to that with it. I mean, SmackDown is very consistently kind of pretty good, but the tag division has pretty consistently been bad, actually. That's been one of the parts of the show I've kind of got used to the fact that it's going to be a bit iffy.
Yeah. Speaking of segments that were bad, Reginald. Moving on. No. Okay, so Reginald,
favorite person.
This guy, I have nothing against the person himself. I have everything against his character. I hate the fact that he's getting such a spotlight and he's being pushed so much. Let's talk about what happened on this show, because he was in about 17 million segments on this show. Started off backstage. He goes up to Carmella. Carmella, where have you been? Remember that Reginald is supposed to be your sommelier? Where's Carmella been this whole time? Doesn't matter, because she fired him. He literally went up to her and she was like, hey, the game's up. I know what you're doing. You're fired. Lol. And smashed the drink out of his hands and then walked off. And I was like, great. I'm glad that was treated like a big deal. That was a complete throwaway segment. That lasted 30 seconds tops.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is me doing me. But do we want to talk about all Reginald bits, or should we get to just because this was like a through storyline throughout the show?
Let's do all the Reginald bits now so I can get my rant out of the way.
Yeah. This whole show felt like WWE going, yeah, we've made a mistake, Reginald. How do we get rid of male characters usually? We emasculate them.
No. See, what you're thinking is this is the end of Reginald. No.
No. He's in love with Nia Jax now.
It isn't going to be the end of Reginald. I can guarantee you he's still going to get involved in this story, because he got fired by Carmella. Later on, it was Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler. And I was like, okay, this is a cool match. For some reason, which we'll talk about, Bianca and Sasha have got a women's tag title match at Fastlane. Naomi and Lana are the number one contenders for starters. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez got screwed on NXT by Adam Pearce. And it seems that there's a story brewing here, because later on, Natalya and Tamina were backstage talking to Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce, being like, why haven't we got a title shot? And I was like,
why do you deserve one?
Yeah. And also Naomi and Lana are the number one contenders, lest we forget. And then Sonya Deville was like, it's not Adam made a different choice. So it seems like Adam Pearce has some sort of motivation for picking certain people and making sure certain teams win the titles and hold on to them and all that stuff. That's potentially a story that they're going to do. Great. Cool. I'm on board for that. That's fine. So they had Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler in a singles match. Sasha Banks then comes out before the match starts. And as Sasha's coming out, Reginald comes out afterwards, because why not? Shove him in the feud again. Why not? He's just been fired by Carmella, and now he's out here just like, hey, Sasha, what's up, girl? And I'm like, dude, you just got fired.
I don't know why he keeps putting himself into these dangerous situations. I mean, he's really living on the Reginald. It was, yeah. And then the match was fine. WWE's put the fear into me that I just assumed Bianca was going to lose this match.
Yeah, same.
Because I'm like, oh, wait, she's challenging at WrestleMania. So she's going to lose this match. And then she'll win at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But she didn't. It was a perfectly good match, but I was just distracted by Reginald being a knob on the outside.
Yeah. So the whole time...
That's all that happened the last few weeks.
On the outside, Reginald was basically flirting with Sasha Banks. And he was just essentially flirting with her. There was one bit where Bianca went to the outside and Reginald was kind of standing near her and was like, hey, I'm not going to touch. And then Bianca shoved him for some reason. I didn't get that, but sure, whatever. Shoved him aside and he went flying, did a cool little roll thing. He's good at the flips.
He's a good gymnast.
For some reason, that really annoys Nia Jax, because then he gets up and stands in front of Sasha Banks and Nia Jax then charges at him for some reason and then he dodges, and she hits Banks, and Reginald is like, oh no. And then Bianca's like, whoa, what's going on the outside? It's like, why do you care? Shayna Baszler then got in the Kirifuda clutch, and I was like, they're going to have Bianca lose by distraction because of Reginald. But then she just hits the KOD on Shayna and then wins. I don't know what's worse out of that, honestly. Shayna looking like an absolute chump because she had Bianca distracted and then just lost. Or just Bianca actually losing. If they made the correct decision, the more logical decision of Shayna winning because she had the upper hand. I hate this. I hate all of the Reginald involvement. But it wasn't the end of Reginald on this show.
No, and it wasn't. But my main thing is, why do Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler need to be on SmackDown at all at this point? What are they doing? Like, I know they're facing Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair at Fastlane, but why are they facing them at Fastlane? There's no reason for that to be happening.
Adam Pearce made the choice.
I know, and if you've seen Pete's news, it looks like all these Adam Pearce stuff is leading to some new NXT belts. And what is Adam Pearce doing? None of this makes sense. But like you said, this isn't the end of Reginald.
No, because, okay, so immediately afterwards, he tries helping Sasha to her feet again. And I thought for a second here, they had me for a second where I thought Sasha was going to be like, oh, Reginald, you're so great. Be my sommelier kind of thing. She didn't. She got up and she just slapped him and said, stay out of my business. I was like, thank God. All right, good. That's good. I was very scared that Reginald was going to join her then. That's fine. So she walks off to the back. Later on, backstage segment, Reginald's walking there, goes up to Sasha Banks' dressing room. She opens the door, just goes, no, and slams the door in his face. Good for Sasha. Like that. Please tell him to piss off. That's great. He then walks away. Shayna Baszler's there being like, oh, and kind of bullies him for a bit and says, oh, do you want to fight? All that stuff, being all, Pete, how Shayna is.
I'm surprised you're not a wrestler with that kind of intimidation.
That kind of intimidating stuff that she does,
Yeah.
But then Nia Jax steps in and says, wait, no, don't you see what I see? I think he's cute. And then the segment ends. Why is Reginald getting so much spotlight? It's the women's title feud. The WrestleMania main event of the SmackDown Women's title, of the Royal Rumble winner and the SmackDown Women's Championship and the Women's Tag Team belts, and it's all about Reginald. It makes me so mad. Just stop it. Stop giving the spotlight to the one man in the feud. God, it makes me so angry.
Are we getting a Nia Jax Reginald love storyline?
Possibly. I don't know. I still think that Reginald's going to help Sasha win at Fastlane. I don't know. Oh, God.
We're going to have a storyline where Nia Jax... No, I'm not going to finish that one. I won't finish that one with Reginald. Yeah, I wish he would leave as well. I'm just sort of used to him being there, which isn't a good thing.
No, it's not.
It's like when they tried to distract everyone from the Women's Royal Rumble with a bunch of 24/7 men.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, stop it.
Yeah. It's really that.
This is the Women's Royal Rumble. We don't need any of this. And I don't like the fact that Nia and Shayna are there, but it'd be so much more bearable if they didn't have this little man running around going, it's like when you're in the office, Pete, running around trying to talk to everyone.
I'm literally just parkouring off the tables all the time, just trying to, doing all the flips and stuff. Yeah. That's why I hate him so much. He's basically me. That's what it is. Anyway, we're really going to run over on time today if we don't hurry up.
Yeah, should we just... what was the next thing?
So let's go back in time a bit, because that was all the Reginald stuff. So then we had Dominik Mysterio versus Chad Gable, which I will say was a really fun match, because we already know that Chad Gable is really good in the ring. But Dominik Mysterio really held his own here, I thought, against Gable. Kind of going move for move, really cool, like roll-up sequences and cool innovative counters and like flips and stuff. And it all looked really, really smooth and really, really great. Thoroughly enjoyed Dominik in this match as well, which is great. Dominik just won with a surprise roll-up after a really cool little roll-up sequence. It wasn't like some sort of weird distraction finish, which I appreciate, which I thought was great. Rey Mysterio, immediately after the bell, just
Just
sprinted
destroyed
straight across the ring and just went straight at Otis, just drop kicked him through the ropes and then sentoned him onto the commentary table and then ran away. And I was like, is he the baby face?
Now
I'm confused.
Now I think this is fine. I think this is fine
Sure.
because he's seen what Otis does to people after matches. This is retaliation. I think a babyface is allowed to do this.
Okay.
So I don't have an issue with this. I just don't know where they're going with this.
No.
But the thing is, it's absolutely fine to have an exhibition match now and then. When it's just, here's a wrestler, they're going to have a match. But we've had lots of this from both teams where we don't know what the Mysterios are doing because they've just stopped with Baron Corbin now, have they? I guess.
Guess so.
And Chad Gable and Otis are heels, I guess, especially Otis. But again, they don't have a storyline. It's just loads of people sitting in limbo at the moment because they don't seem to be able to construct more than 3 or 4 kind of storylines that make sense at one given time.
Yeah, felt very stagnant for this one, but hey ho. We then got a recap of Rollins and Cesaro from last week. Rollins was backstage saying, Cesaro's so mean. He hasn't swung anyone else that long. He has, but he hasn't swung anyone else that long. He did that specifically to me because he hates me. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they see him. Rollins. They hate him.
Have you been storing these up just for when we go live?
I have not.
Jesus. And then Murphy walks into the shot. Haven't seen Murphy in months. Holy crap, guys. He's not got a Mysterio with him. That's cool. Great. So he walks into the shot and I was like, oh, are they going to play off Murphy and Rollins' history here? Is Rollins going to turn to him and be like, you're my disciple, right? And Murphy's like, no. No, they didn't do that. They didn't do any of that. Because Murphy just went, hey, look, I can help you with the Cesaro situation. Completely, legitimately, I might add, not trying to hoodwink Rollins in any way, just straight up to being like, hey, I can help you. And Rollins was like, luckily, Rollins said, get out of my sight, I don't want to see you. Character consistency from Rollins, none from Murphy. Why would Murphy offer to help Rollins? That makes no sense with anything that happened in their story.
Pete, as you did in your news earlier, make it make sense. That's all you've got to do. Force this to make sense.
Okay. So a lot of people always say that the story's obviously there. You just need to look at it, right? So I could make this make sense by saying that Murphy was so down on his luck and he's not been featured on TV since the whole Aaliyah Mysterio thing, and he's just feeling so down and he just wants to be back on TV again because that's what he loves wrestling and that's what he wants to do. And he's been looking back and he remembers the time when he was on TV because he was with Rollins and he was his disciple. So now he's been contemplating some really heavy life choices and he knows that being Rollins' disciple is the only way that he can be featured on TV. So he's going to go back to that abusive relationship that he had, except WWE didn't say any of that or tell any of that story. That doesn't exist.
They didn't
That's
need
just
to.
you putting pieces together that aren't there.
It was all in his face. You just got to read his expression more. Yeah, this is lazy. Like, they're cool together because they're both really cool wrestlers and they're great. But
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, unfortunately. I don't want them to just replay the same storyline, which is presumably what will happen if they do team together. Because at some point they're going to break up because Seth Rollins is not a tag team star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See,
I mean, is he just there to annoy? Is he just there to give Rollins the advantage over Cesaro?
I don't know. But Draws Walker 9 in the chat. Poor buddy, this makes it look like he has Stockholm Syndrome all over again. That's a fine story to tell.
No,
if you want to tell the story of him having Stockholm Syndrome, cool, great, do that. Tell a story.
That's Austin Theory's gimmick anyway right now.
True, yeah. Anyway. Oh, we've got Wrestling Daily in the chat.
Oh, is that Louis?
I love this gimmick and all things wrestling, and especially Wrestling Daily, the best show on the planet.
It's Louis.
Thanks, Louis. You should also subscribe to Wrestling Daily, but also get out of here, Louis. Yeah, hated that. No consistency. Cesaro then faced Murphy in a match. Cesaro won pretty quickly. It's a pretty dominant win, which is good. He should get a dominant win. I'm upset personally because I think Cesaro versus Murphy could be an amazing match, but it doesn't make sense for them to have that match with the story they've got right now. I'd love to have that in the future at some point on a bigger stage. Also, Louis, get out of here. That's awful. Genuinely,
make any sense.
That's
Also,
terrible, Louis.
if you're trying to do a capital city, Zurich is not the capital of Switzerland. Bern is. So shut up, Louis.
Yeah, Louis.
That was a burn. I burned him.
Anyway, after that match, we really need to get through this. We had some more Reginald stuff. We got a Big E video package saying he's come back next week. Cool. They played 2 video packages on this show, but they did it well this time because the first one was just like, Big E's coming back. Big E win the Intercontinental title. We love Big E. Big E's great. They started playing the same video package later on in the show, just before the Apollo Crews stuff, but they changed it halfway through to when Apollo attacked him. That's how you do 2 video packages for the same thing, because you started off with the same one and you think, oh, it's the same video package from earlier, and then it changes and it gets all dark when Apollo Crews attacks him, and then it said Big E coming back next week and it shows Big E being stretched out. I'm like, that's great. Love that. Do more of that. I'm getting really excited about this show and I'm getting way overexcited. God. We had that Apollo stuff. We had Natalya and Tamina backstage saying, why aren't they in a women's tag match? We had
because you're
Bayley.
Natalya and Tamina.
Yeah. We had Bayley doing a ding dong hello show, but backstage and with no guests. She came out and sat down and said, we're going to read some sweet tweets because people do mean tweets, but everyone loves Bayley, so let's do some sweet tweets. So she read a couple and said, ding dong hello show should main event WrestleMania and whatever the other one was. And then she got to a third one and said, I think ding dong hello, and then cut off, and then she seemed to get mad, and then put her glasses down, and then scrunched up the cards, and then walked away and slammed the door.
Yeah, the fact that this isn't in the ring makes me think they're giving up on this already.
I hope not.
It feels like the slow, okay, well, you can do it, but you're going to have to do it backstage. And then she'll do it next week without the set. I don't know what Bayley's doing at the moment. It just feels like, oh, she's good, but we can't. We have to wait until WrestleMania, so I won't be surprised at all if Bayley's the first person to challenge whoever is the champion after WrestleMania. So they're just thinking, oh, she needs to be on TV. She doesn't need to be on TV. She can take some time off and then she can come back. And then I'll be much more excited to see her. As much as I love Bayley, it's just a pointless segment at this point.
Yeah, it really is. And I like the Ding Dong Hello show, but actually have it mean something if she's in a feud, maybe. That'd be cool. Anywho, we then got another video package. There were so many on this show of the whole Bryan Reigns Uso thing so far. Then we got the main event, which was a steel cage match between Bryan and Uso, which, shock horror, was a great match. It's Bryan versus Uno in Bryan versus Uso in a cage. Yeah, Bryan versus Uno. That's him. Evil Uno. He was there. Bryan versus Uso in a cage. It was great. It was a great match. Really, really fun action. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Reigns and Heyman were watching from ringside. And then Bryan hit I love this new finish that he's doing of doing the butterfly suplex off the top rope, rolling through into the yes lock. Love that. Uso then tried to grab the ropes, and the referee was like, there's no rope breaks in a steel cage. And he was like, yay, I see my mistake here.
Consistent rules.
I know. How crazy is that? And then he kept holding onto the rope, and Bryan just kept like yanking it back further and further until Uso had no choice but to tap. So it's Bryan versus Reigns at Fastlane. Thought this was a really cool main event. Sets up a really fun match at Fastlane. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I really like the fact that Reigns didn't interrupt.
Me too.
Because he just sort of sat there looking on. Because that's what he's always done with Jey. It's really consistent. He's like, hey, look, if you lose, then you lose. I'm not gonna help you.
Exactly.
So really like that. And there's just a really cool visual at the end of Roman with Paul Heyman kind of the devil on his shoulder. Paul Heyman just looking up at Bryan, and Bryan just this final segment and match was a home run for me. And I'm really looking forward to it. And there were some naff bits on the show, but when you finish with something like this, I'm like, yeah. Now I remember why I like wrestling again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Overall, I didn't think this was a good show. According to the poll that we put up on the WrestleTalk podcast back end, where's it gone? There it is. 56% of you at the time I took the screenshot voted for smack bang in the middle, 3 out of 5, with 22% going one higher with 4 out of 5. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I didn't like the show. I'm sorry, guys. I really didn't.
So negative.
I know.
I would give it at least a 3 out of 5.
No, you wouldn't. You liar.
No,
you would only do that because everyone else said that.
No, but like reflecting back on like the Apollo stuff and the final match, and then just a couple of other bits. Like I enjoyed the Gable match, even if it was just sort of a nothing match. There was enough in there that made me think and come away from the show. Because if I come away from the show thinking, ugh, then it's a 2 out of 5. But I was like, okay, then it's fine. It's a 3 out of 5 show, low 3 out of 5 show, but it's a 3.
Okay, I believe you. I still gonna give it a 2 out of 5 because I hate Reginald, and there's way too much of it on the show. I'm sorry, there's just too much Reginald for me. It just dragged it down. There was so much stuff that was like damaging, like the whole Street Profits Corbin Zayn stuff. Like it made everyone look rubbish. Like the whole Reginald and all the women stuff made all of them look crap. Like I don't know, there was just too much. It wasn't that the segments were bad, which they were. It was that they were damaging. That's the line for me. That's what really drags it down, is it makes them look worse than they were before. They're not just stagnant, they're worse. But yeah, that's just me. Anyway, got a few more Ultra Chats to get to, but before we do that, we now need to say thank you to some very special people, and those are our $25 and above pledge hammers on Patreon. If you've not been to WrestleTalk's Patreon page yet, you probably should, because right now, the poll for WrestleTalk Extra is going on, and it is so close for the show that Ollie and Luke will be reviewing for this month's WrestleTalk Extra, because right now, the poll is open. After 307 votes, 33% of people want to see WrestleMania 19 and 31% want to see WrestleMania 31. So there's still time for it to change because it ends tomorrow morning. So if you've not been to WrestleTalk's Patreon page yet, $5 up, you get to vote on that poll and you get the WrestleTalk Extra episode when it comes out. So go vote if you've not done that yet. And if you pledge at the $25 amount or more, you get your own custom wrestling nickname and it gets shouted out on a show much like this one. So thank you very much to the mayor of Painesville, Dan.
Oh, yeah, Dan. Vito Ventura, pet detective.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Kenny, everybody's got a price. Bryson.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Bad connection, Thomas Lagdon.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Good heavens, it's Morgan Evans.
It is Morgan Evans.
Thank you very much.
Robert Spencer. Period.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Jack Daniels on the Carl Rocks.
Oh, my favourite.
Thank you very much.
Manipulating Manu Maria.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. The Pharaoh, Stephen Mazzaferro.
Oh, that's a great surname.
Thank you.
The Craftsman, Blake Carpenter.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. He does like to craft. Andrew, the Last Airbender, Mercogliano.
Oh,
thank you.
And finally for today, never wrong, Tyler Wright. We're back live.
Hate those rolling R's. But thank you very much, all of our pledge hammers. Patreon.com/WrestleTalk for you to become a pledge hammer today. So before we get out of it, we've got to get through the rest of your Ultra Chats. So back to the Apollo topic, which was the opening topic of the show. Leon Kwashi said, now my nitpick is the soldiers, especially in the aftermath of the recent and repeated Nigerian school children by insurgents and the recent stuff in Myanmar. I don't think WWE take into consideration recent geopolitical stuff in their gimmicks. Possibly not. I don't know how widely known that stuff is with that, and it may have struck a pretty negative chord, but I think overall in terms of respecting culture, it was well done. Perhaps maybe the timing was off, but for me it was okay. On reflection, what do you think, Andy?
Yeah, it's always going to strike a different chord with some people, and unfortunately there's a lot of crap going on in the world, and it may well kind of sort of hit people that they're not thinking of that, but I don't think that's why they're not doing it to try and take advantage of that situation. So While that may be something you think, oh, that's not what they're going for, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly, yeah. Justin Smith comes in to say, first time super chat, so bear with me, but Apollo's gimmick is horrible. He's basically saying his granddad was a Nigerian Hitler. Look up the Nigerian Civil War from the 80s and 90s. Not good. It was really just a genocide as only one tribe had weapons. I don't think that's what he was saying. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. And I don't think that's what he was trying to say with saying his descended from Nigerian royalty. I don't think that's what he was going for. Maybe that's how you interpreted it, but I don't think that's what he was trying to do.
No, I think it's easy to kind of be like, just sort of bring in things that aren't there. But yeah, I really don't think that's what they were doing. But yeah, I mean, your opinion, so that's fine. But like,
absolutely,
yeah, I don't think that's what they were doing.
Yeah. We got a couple SmackDown related chats here. Ronan Cahill said, so the build to the match at WrestleMania between Edge and Roman is have a tag match at Fastlane, but creative has nothing for Edge's longtime tag partner Christian. Yeah, that checks out.
But why don't they have that? Yeah, I would love it. I would love to see Christian in AEW.
Would you?
It would. Yeah, just be. It would be a massive shock.
It would be. That's true.
But it's also like, WWE, what are you doing? How did you not make the most of this situation?
I know. Yeah,
it's Christian his return and Edge.
I know, and his return in the Rumble was so good. And yeah, like the chat said, if you're gonna have Edge have a tag match at Fastlane and you can't think of a partner for him, guys, Christian's right there. Fiery Turtle comes in to say, "G'day lads, all the way from 2:30 a.m. in Australia. Go to sleep. Personally, I feel like this SmackDown was one of the more stronger ones of recent one of the more stronger ones of recent weeks. Apollo looks strong going against Big E. Corbin furthers his small feud with Zayn. Roman continues to look dominant. I agree on all those fronts. I think the rest of the show was really bad, though, and dragged down a lot of people, which I don't like.
Do we want to see Corbin with a feud with Zayn?
I didn't
really think about it, but I guess that's where this is going.
Yeah.
Is Zayn turning face?
I'd be okay with Zayn turning face. He really needs to shed the whole conspiracy thing if he's going to. But
he needs to do something.
Yeah. We've got some other chats here. Can't read that name because it's in characters that aren't English, and I don't know which language, so I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say in case I offend anyone. But Andy just said it anyway, just in case. Finally got a chance to tell Andy that Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Sommelier was the best pun ever. Happy anniversary, man. Holla.
Oh, thank you very much. It was my anniversary yesterday. And thank you to everyone who said happy anniversary. That's very kind of you.
Also, that's not the best pun you've ever done. It's the worst pun you've ever done. Just throwing it out there. Laramie Schnorr said, forgot how much I missed the times before the Rona, but looking at the Office background gave me a nostalgia pop bigger than the Edge return. Well, almost bigger. Hope the day when we can get everyone back in the office is not too far away. Fingers crossed. We don't know how long it's going to be yet. I'm not going to give you a date because we don't know, but hopefully before long.
Yes, no, it's very nice to be back. This is I won't be here next week, but I just happen to be in the area this week, and it is Chinese. I just checked.
Well done, Andy. Proud of you. Carol Wands, hello, Carol, said, just wanted to say hello to Pete and Andy and show my support. I hope you do this show live every week. It's the only one I can watch in full now. Besides, you two are better than Ollie and Luke and way more fun. Don't tell them. Hashtag jam that jam. Hashtag hugs and love to CM Chris. Well, hey.
We will be telling them.
We absolutely will be telling them. Yeah. Nothing that happens on this. Yeah, nothing on this will stay secret. Anyone who wants to praise us some more, we'll also be telling them that as well. That'd be great. But yes, I believe that is everyone. Yes, we will be doing the show live every week from now on. That's the plan anyway. Although Andy won't be here next week.
I'm sorry. You'll have making his SmackDown podcast debut. I'm trying to have to... Oh, it's Tempest. Yay!
It's Tempest. Tempest is going to be doing the podcast with me next week instead.
I was trying to see a picture of him, but I don't.
No. And Andy's got a week off next week, so we're going to have Tempest do the SmackDown review with me next week, which will be really fun. I'm very much looking forward to that, so you guys get excited for that. But then Andy will be back the week after in the lead up to WrestleMania and Fastlane and stuff. I believe that is all the Ultra Chats we have for today. But yes, thank you very much. That's all the time we've got, I guess. Yes, it will be live, Carol. We are doing all of these live from now on. That's the plan. But yes, that is going to be that for this episode of the WrestleTalk Podcast. Thank you guys for coming back to the SmackDown re-debut of Making It Live. Really do appreciate you all coming out. And yeah, thank you guys for all your chats, all your Ultra Chats. Thank you, moderators. You're all great. And we'll hopefully see you guys next week for some more SmackDown podcast awesomeness. Bye.
Oh, we haven't done this live in a while.
Press the videos on screen. Become a pledge hammer. Subscribe. Bye.